Greater Manchester Police says when dad of two, Luke Graham, was in front of children dressed in princess outfits and boys on bikes and old ladies sitting in the front garden drinking tea on the East Manchester street, they were left to dive for cover when the booming sound of ammo whizzed through the air. In broad daylight on a sunny day, Manchester had been divided due to the profitability of dealing dr. On one side you had Luke Graham and his mate Anton verigotta, and on the other side there was GUN man Wade Cox and dealer Callum Halpin. There was no love lost between the gangsters. After all, Callum and Wade believed that Luke and Anton were muscling in on their territory, and tragically Luke Graham, who was also known by the nickname Tank, was a casualty in the gang and dr feud. On the day of the brutal and very public Luke had accompanied Anton verigotta to a known dr house on Birch Street on at least 4 different occasions in order to supply Class A to customers. The last visit was caught on CCTV at roughly 4:40 p.m. As Anton made another sale, Luke accompanied him. Now, as soon as Anton and Luke had left, 3 rival dr dealers had stormed the dr house. That included Wade Cox and Callum Halpin, and they were looking for Luke and Anton. When Luke and Anton were nowhere to be seen, Wade told the dr users to get Anton and Luke back here now. Scared, the customers and occupants of the house called Anton and Luke back to the location, after Wade warned that the occupants of the house, if they did not comply, they would lose a leg permanently. Wade, having a reputation for being an angry man and also friends with the likes of Dale Cregan, they believed that the promise was real. At 4:45 p.m, Wade Cox, Callum Halpin and a third man arrived at Birch Street in a silver LDA4 that was fitted with false plates. All 3 gangsters put on their gloves and mask and then entered the house. A few minutes later, Anton and Luke arrived on Birch Street in a van, Tank in the passenger seat and Anton at the wheel. At this point, the M had been set in motion. Police were left shocked by the recklessness of the balaclava-clad gang. That included Wade Cox, as he came running out of the house on Birch Street in Ashton-under-Lyne on the 13th of June 2018, GUN in hand, and then began pressing the trigger at the van at point-blank range, barrel pointed at the passenger side window. Now the window obliterated and Luke was struck in the shoulder. Anton managed to get out of the van. While he was running away, he was struck in the leg, but he still managed to escape as he ran and hobbled and fled the scene. Tank on the other hand, he was trapped. Callum Halpin is said to have shut the doors to the van so Luke could not escape. He was trapped inside, while Wade kept pressing the trigger. Now Luke was said to have been struck 5 times and was pronounced dead instantly. The M of Luke Graham and attempted M of Anton verigotta was intended to send a very clear message to other up-and-coming drug gangs in the Manchester area that gangs would K to protect their territory and their client base. Now Luke, who was a dad of 2, was labelled a rival dealer and had been lured to Ashton-under-Lyne address on Birch Street under false pretences. Luke had also had spells in jail himself for dealing, but at the time of his M, it was understood that he was doing his best to turn his life around. Sadly, 28-year-old Callum Halpin, who was a dealer, did not give Luke Graham the chance. Now Manchester Crown Court heard that Luke was known to make his money by selling Class B and Class A. Callum Halpin and Wade Cox did not like this. Now after the M, Callum Halpin and Wade Cox and a third man who all wore gloves and masks fled the scene. Callum took the GUN and arranged for the silver LDA4 to be disintegrated nearby. By the time the M of Luke Graham was announced, Callum had already packed his bag and booked a one-way ticket out of the country. It was said that he had first travelled to Spain before ending up in Portugal, and he was on the run for nearly 4 years. He was actually labelled Britain's most wanted man. However, he was eventually caught and then arrested and then extradited back to the UK, and on Friday, February 3rd, 2023, at Minstrel Crown Court, Callum Halpin was jailed for life for the M and attempted M. He was sentenced to life with a minimum term of 30 years. When he was sentenced and told to get up, Callum was said to remain silent but gave his mum a thumbs up. As for Wade Cox, who is friends with Dale Cregan, he had previously been jailed for life for M and attempted M, with a minimum term of 36 years. Not one single person showed an ounce or morsel of remorse during their sentencing. Stay safe. Safe.